unconstitutional changes of government, there is nowhere in the world today, Excellencies, nowhere in the world today that military men in uniform rule except Myanmar in Asia. No other continent. But at a time, we have 6 members suspended for unconstitutional changes of government.
Yes, here we are. Revolutionary greetings to you all, family, friends, fellow Africans here in the continent, and to you who are in the diaspora. The African Union has joined U.S. General Mr. Langley in saying the Sahel has become an epicenter of terrorism. Speaking at the joint consultative meeting between the Pan-African Parliament and the African Union Peace and Security Council in Midland, South Africa, the representative has claimed that the Sahel has become an epicenter of terrorism. These words were spoken by U.S. General Mr. Langley when he was accusing Captain Ibrahim Traore for using gold reserve to protect himself. Langley said, the Sahel has become an epicenter of terrorism. The same words spoken by the African Union. Dear lovely family, do you agree with this, that it's true the Sahel is an epicenter of the terrorism? So please share with me through the comment section your opinion. And of course, I think this is an agenda because even Nigerian Chief of Defense said one day that he wants to build a fence across borders of Nigeria to protect Nigeria from people from Sahel. When things went bad in Sahel, people will run to Nigeria. So he wants to build a fence. So it looks like this is an agenda. Everyone is citing Sahel, but they're forgetting that if it's true, Sahel is in an epicenter of terrorism. Who caused this issue? Who caused these problems? Because these things started or become hot when they removed Gaddafi. So you can see. But all in all, let us go and listen very keenly what the representative of African Union on the issue of peace and security said in his...
The Sahel is very, very disheartening. And of course, not forgetting the Lake Chad Basin and Central Africa in general. Because what is happening in Central African Republic is good news, because we have the recently brokered Chad agreements with the rebels that were sitting out of the political reconciliation and peace agreement that the AU had brokered. In the Sahel, I can tell you for sure that we are re-energizing our efforts through the chairmanship of His Excellency President João Lourenço of the Republic of Angola. This, you will hear very soon what will be reeling out. We cannot abandon these countries that have been suspended. 5 countries are now suspended, 4 in West Africa, 3 in the Sahel: Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. How do we bring them together back to the fold? On the condition that they remain democratic. They must restore democratic principles. And this house, this parliament, is a symbol of democracy. It is an inclusive institution, and we want our brothers and sisters back. But they can only come back, according to the Peace and Security Council, when they fulfill the conditions in the Lomé Declaration, in the Constitutive Act, in the protocol established in the Peace and Security Council, and most importantly, in the African Charter on Democracy, Elections, and Governance. But the Sahel is still the epicenter for terrorism, is still the epicenter for climate-induced insecurity, and we have to work closely. The Lake Chad is gradually improving.
Wow, Africa Union wants Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso leaders wear out their military uniform. They want Captain Traore, Assimi Goïta, and Abdramane Tiani into nice suits and office shoes. They are not happy with maybe a military clause, but all in all, they're still pushing these leaders into what they believe democratic government. So if it's true, African Union is talking about democracy, and if democracy is about majority decision, I think there is a real democracy in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, because these leaders were in power or came to power in the support of majority. Today, if you go to Burkina Faso, you can see how majority of people are in support and standing with their leader. The same to Mali, the same to Niger. So that is the democracy, the true democracy that we are talking about. Fellow Africans, do you know why they want to force Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso to enter into democratic governance? They want election. And all of us, we know that through election, people are being divided. And if people are divided, it means it will be easy for these people to start fighting each other. Remember that these countries, they are facing threats of terrorism. So if people are dividing into political parties, then in another side, there are terrorists. It will be easy this country to be attacked. And from there, their mission will be okay. So African Union, please stop being used by the Western power. We know the aim here is to destabilize these countries. How can you go into election while the country is not at peace? The country is suffered by jihadists and terrorism. One thing that I think African Union has to do is to mobilize other countries and go fight terrorism in Sahel. Then from there, if there's a peace in Sahel, then you can call people to go into what you think to the system that you think is nice one. But it is not recommended that we have to become democratic. We can choose, or we can find another suitable governance system. So we know, because these things happened in many countries, that if you are going into election, you are going to divide the nation. Right now, people in Burkina Faso are busy concentrating in national building, and yet you want these people to change their minds, to start thinking about election, moving on the street, demonstrating, asking for votes. No. That is not right. African Union, Africans, we want development. Look, China, you have been gifted headquarters of African Union by the Chinese, who is not democratic. Look, UK is not democratic, but is sponsoring us. The matter here is not about democracy. It's about saving the people. It's about serving the people, providing good services to the people. Maybe African Union, you want Captain Ibrahim Traore, Abdulrahman Chian, and Assimi Goïta to take out their military uniform. Maybe that's what you want. You are not happy with military uniform, but suit does not bring you intelligence. To wear a suit, it doesn't mean that you are intelligent. You can wear a suit and you can remain a fool. So please, African Union, leave these countries. Let us give these countries breath. They have been suffered since independence. France were there, exploited these countries. Let us give opportunity these countries to thrive, to grow, and to build their nation. And you are the one who are supposed to support these countries. What happened to these countries is not a military coup, is revolution. I think African Union has to update some information to differentiate between military coup and revolution. How can you compare the way people love Captain Ibrahim Traore and the people of Kenya, the way they love President Ruto? Yes, you can say maybe Kenya is a democratic country. You can define Burkina Faso is not a democratic country. But compare those two countries. Maybe let us keep Kenya aside. Go to Cameroon, where President Paul Biya has announced to contest again. He has ruled Cameroon for 4 decades, and still he wants to become a president. Compare with Captain Ibrahim Traore, who ruled a country for only three years. It's almost 3 years. And yet African Union is talking about unconstitutional changes. Unconstitutional changes while people are enjoying. And what happened in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, it's not about military coup. It's about revolutions. So I think African Union contradicting between revolutions and democracy. Democracy is for the Western power, but revolution is for Africa. So I think, and we know the reason of all these things, because African Union itself is controlled by other people. So African Union is learning other people's agenda. So, and that's why I remember President of Zambia, President Hakainde Hichilema, is spoken very loudly and said that when African leaders meet in different occasions, they use their time, 70% of their time, discussing politics. They're not discussing development. They think that is totally different in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. So African leaders or African Union want Captain Ibrahim Traore, Assimi Goïta, and Abdramani Chan to stop discussing investment and development, to start discussing politics. This should not, I think Captain Ibrahim Traore and his counterparts will not accept that. So they want Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso to stop building their nation and start thinking about elections. That is nonsense. And I said one day, this Western power and this powerful nation, they use elections and this something called democracy to divide the people. Give me an example. Which country is democratic? Tell me any country. Is America democratic? Is the UK democratic? China, who built our African Union headquarters. You know, maybe you don't know. China is the one who built African Union headquarters without any African country to contribute anything for free. Is China a democratic country? That is my question to you. Is China a democratic country? Why not African Union say we are not going to stay in this building that you see here, built by the Chinese, by the China government, and China government is not a democratic country? Can they leave this house and say we are in the house made or constructed by undemocratic country? Can they say like that? I think they cannot do like that. So the issue here is not about democracy. The way you define democracy depends where you are standing from. If you are in America, you are in Europe, you can define the way you see things in America. But if you are in Africa, you have to define your democracy in African ways. We cannot have single suit that can fit all of us. Of course, one good thing that Burkina has already announced that Burkina Faso is not a democratic country. They have chosen their own path, that Burkina Faso is a revolutionary country. So if African Union want to force Burkina to become a democratic country, I think they are wrong. They can also force China to become a democratic country. And of course, African Union is weak. African Union has no territory, has no power, has no leader who can speak on behalf of Africa. That's the reality. Today we are talking about Congo. A few days, of course, I shared the video that Congo and Rwanda signed an agreement under America. At that time, no African Union were there. They were informed by Trump. Trump took the decision calling Rwanda and in the Congo, okay, sit down here, let us sign peace agreement without African Union. And today African Union is saying that he wants democratic government. Where is African Union? Where is African Union? African Union that failed to bring peace in DRC. Right now, things is worse in Sudan. What African Union is doing to make sure that there's a peace in Sudan? Maybe I'm wrong. In Sahel, what African Union did when ECOWAS mobilized tools and equipment to invade Niger to restore what they call democratic government. What kind of democracy? The democracy is to fight people, to fight a single man, to kill men on behalf of one people. I think as Africans, when we talk about democracy, we talk about governance system, the good governance system that fits majority. I hope in Mali, in Niger, the way they are doing things is okay. They are fitting majority. Look, the democracy in Cameroon. All of us, we know what happened to the people of Amazonia. We have Sahrawi. We know what is happening there in Sahrawi, Western Sahrawi. What African Union is doing? Can African Union tell Morocco something about Sahrawi? I don't think so. So what I see here, these Western powers are using African Union to push Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso to go back to a group where people are discussing politics instead of discussing investment and development. That's what they want to do. They want to destabilize this country. These are just techniques to destabilize Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. And I hope these leaders are so strict, they know what they want, so they will not accept that. And soon you will see leaders withdrawing from African Union. Museveni said that he will not attend the African Union. He said clear that I'm not going to attend the African Union because it is people are going there to speak nothing. Madame, Excellence, something like that. Those are not. People want development. People want leader who implement ideas. So, family, friends, fellow Africans. So, apart from the issue of democracy, let us now go to the issue of peace and security. We know that every region right now is facing challenges, especially in the issue of peace and security. If you go to West Africa, there is a challenge in Sahel. If you go to East Africa, you talk about Congo, South Sudan. If you go to Maghreb, you talk about Sudan. In the Horn of Africa, you're talking about Somalia. If you go to the southern part of the continent, you talk about Mozambique. So every region has challenges. So what we can do to make sure that we have peace? We know African Union itself cannot succeed because African Union has no fund, has no territory, has no army. If something is needed to be done, of course, this is always we are providing this solution, is African countries to come together and unite. Let us unite for the peace. Let us unite for the security. One day I suggested, if you look this continent, we have blessed to have military leaders. I mentioned President Kagame, President Museveni. If you go to Sahel, all those are soldiers. If you go to Sierra Leone, Mahada Bio is a soldier. If you go to South Sudan, you find Salva Kiir is a soldier, and his friends are soldiers. So we have a lot of soldiers. If you go to Gabon, why not these soldiers having their own meetings to discuss the issue of peace and security? And from there, they can form their organization and contribute. Every country or every nation must contribute into peace and security. And these challenges, sometimes is caused by politics. It's about politics. Because those who are in political space, always they are serving their masters. That's the reality. We have seen leaders politically came to power to serve their masters. So that's why sometimes you see soldiers going to the bush, starting fighting. So we have to come together. We know the challenges. And because we have been told by other people that this is a good governance system, we have to include these people, we have to exclude these people. And we know through democracy how votes are being stolen. People, they instill someone who they want for their interest. That's why sometimes you see all these conflicts. We think people who imposed this governance system to us, they love us. No, they love our resources. They want someone who can serve their interest. That's why they send observers. What are they observing? What are they observing? Have you seen African nation in Burundi send observer to UK, to Russia? Have Djibouti send observer to America to observe election in America and comment on American election? I think as Africans, we know the problem. But because many of us, we are serving our master, we fear to speak the problem. But if we can stop serving our masters and serve Africans, these things will come to an end. I'm telling you the truth. These things will come to an end. We don't need America to bring together Rwanda and Congo in Washington to discuss peace in DRC. How come America is far away from here and thinking about peace in DRC? How come? Why not the neighboring country? Why not Rwanda itself? Why not Congo? Why not Congo-Brazzaville? Why not Uganda? Why not Burundi? Why it's America? Why it's Qatar? Why it is UK who discussing peace of Sudan? Africans, we have solutions. We must stop serving our masters. Let us serve Africans. If we can start serving our African people, we can eliminate these things. We can eliminate these things. Africans, we are not tribal people. We are not terrorists. We are not fighters. Africans, we are revolutionaries. So what's happening in the continent is created purposely. And Africans, we are not accepting that we have solutions. We are waiting other people to come with their solutions. We have made to think like that. The time has come. And this is a message to all young people to start implementing their ideas. Let us stop being used by elders to fight on their behalf. Let us come together as young people and build your nations, build your continent, bring peace. Stop being used. I don't know what we consume so that someone can tell us, go and fight, go and kill someone, and we accept those nonsense. We are Africans. Let us love one another. Let us see each other as brothers and sisters. So, family, friends, fellow Africans, up to that, have no more to add. But all in all, I wish one day the big dream that we have will come true. A united Africa will come true. Maybe not in your lifetime, but the time will come when the generation will say, we are tired of being divided. Now it's the time to come together and unite. From there, Africa will be a safe place for living. So if you are new in this platform, please subscribe. If you have already subscribed, please like the video and share this message to other Africans here on the continent and to those who are in the diaspora. After that, I have no more to share. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for being part of this movement and this revolution. Thank you. Stay in power. See you next time.
Thank you, Africa, Mama Africa. Oh, yeah. You make African great. Thank you, Africa. Thank you, Africa.